Welcome back everybody to Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going over two rares that have a partner ability together, Hellfang and Hound Spawn. Hellfang does the AoE freeze, and then Hound Spawn will do the AoE damage and ignore defense. I know you've looked at them before and you thought maybe they could work out well for you. Well, we are definitely going to 3-star Faction Wars 21 here. And we're going to go through Fire Knight, and they're very strong there as well. But we do have a pickup, right? Whenever we only have an 80% chance to AoE freeze with our Hellfang to level 50. And I would advise only taking Hellfang to 50. We don't need damage from Hellfang, not that much. But from the Hound, we need more damage. We've got that ignore defense. But keep in mind, when we do damage to a frozen opponent, we're doing 25% less. But they have other abilities too that I think are pretty nice. Not necessarily that you should run out and level these rares, but if you are free to play or a low spender and you want to get further in Faction Wars, you can definitely take them to 50 and try to have some fun. At least get this control, right? Make it a lure and relentless if you can with a 100% chance to crit, because anytime we need a pickup, we need to drop a turn meter on somebody that we weren't able to freeze, weren't able to control, Allure is there. She's the one that lets us beat this against any boss. I mean, you want to use her. Plus, you want to use her in Fire Knight 20. My 52nd team in Fire Knight 20, I use her. You will use Alert. Believe me, she is really amazing. So back to the two dogs that have the partner ability. Again, I wish everybody had a partner ability because they're so much fun. The level 50 on the A1, the Hellfang, will also set back enemy skills at like a 15% chance. So the A1 will surprise you sometimes. Come in there and set down their skills completely to where they're set to the max and they're just doing their A1. And then the A2 puts up a weaken, and then the A3 does the AoE freeze at the 80%. Now the Hound over here, his A1 has a chance to stun them. A 20% chance to stun, which again is pretty good for a rare. And his A2 does 2 hits, and each hit has a chance to put the 60% decreased defense. So that's pretty strong because we don't have anybody on this team except for Allure to do the small decreased defense on her AoE. So now we've got somebody in here to do the decreased defense, the big one, which we need on the boss, or we would need going through here, you know, to make it faster, taking people out. And then he does the AoE where he ignores defense with people that are under freeze. But he doesn't hit that hard, right? He's a rare. His multipliers aren't that great. Plus, he only ignores defense if they're under freeze. We're doing 25% less damage. It's okay. It works out if you have Allure, if you have Hate Flower to slow them down, and then if you have a good DPSer like our boy over here that I just can't remember his name at all. And this team's going to go through here. We are actually going to make this in 3-star this. I tried to run them in Dragon, and I tried to run them in an Ice Golem, but one of the two will be the weak affinity when we go through there. And it just doesn't work out with the weak affinity. But when we go through Fire Knight, neither one are the weak affinity, and they do well. They do well in there with Allure, right? And we make it an easy run. We bring in Apothecary. You'll see. You'll see all that. And then when I took them in the Platinum Arena, actually I didn't go with the Platinum Arena. When I was in Gold 4 against all the bots with my Arbiter and my Lysandra coming in with these two dogs, it was easy. Like, we would just wipe them out. Of course, because we're faster. So we would freeze whoever we froze, and then we do like 60,000 damage on most people. It's not a lot of damage. He really isn't breaking any kind of... I do have him in a Relentless set instead of Savage just because it was easy for me to take it off of somebody who wasn't using it at all, so we could get 100% crit rate. I'll show you the gear at the end. We do have nice critical damage. We do have nice attack on him, but he's not like the hardest he could hit. But even still, it's not big. You know, I can tell that the multipliers aren't crazy high, even when you're ignoring defense like we just did there. But we were the weak affinity. See, we're the weak affinity here going against these, the spirit ones. We've got these easily beat. Let's skip forward. We were doing a mix of auto along with manual because we wanted to make sure our abilities were ready to go when we got here. I did run this 4 times because we would lose somebody here every once in a while. The right side minion would put the increased speed on the boss, and we can't have that. We need to get Hate Flower in here with the decreased speed on everybody. Then we need to make sure that, and hope that our Allure doesn't get frozen, because whenever we attack the boss, we have a 20% chance to be frozen. So we have our damage dealer. We're going to focus on the right minion, try to drop down turn meter, and then we're going to focus the boss like we just did. Then we froze the right minion, which was very lucky. And as long as we keep that under control, because once the boss gets that increased speed, it gets crazy. It's hard for us to keep the turn meter down. But then once that person's out of the picture, which we're going to have to happen soon, it will be easy days for us. We can put it on auto almost at the end. We do have a little hiccup here where the boss sneaks through and our Hound gets down pretty low, but we get our life back up, and then that's it. Once that's at this point, we could pretty much put it on auto and let Allure keep knocking down the turn meter as long as she doesn't get frozen, and then we're done. See how low they are right there, though? But we're going to go ahead and beat the boss, and we're all back up to almost full life, and we get a speed glyph on top of it all. So pretty good comp. I mean, everybody has their part here, and you can get Hate Flowers or Login Reward, and hopefully you have an allure to play with. Please use her. So we're going through Dragon right now with a decent Dragon team. We're actually going to beat this, but we're going to lose both our Hounds. Look, weak affinity. So we get weak hits across the board. We're not getting our freeze up, which means we're not ignoring defense. It just doesn't work out well. It's not going to be something that we're going to try to play in Dragon 20. You might try it on a Force Dragon. That would work out for these two, but not here. So we're going to lose both, and then we're going to go through, and then who's going to solo it? Frozen Banshee is going to show this Dragon who the boss is. Just nonstop. Frozen Banshee, poison. Can't handle it. And the same thing happens with us when we go through Ice Golem. So we're in Ice Golem. Now the weak affinity is our DPSer, the Hound. So we're not getting as much damage out, but at least we're getting some control. We're getting the 80% chance to freeze. It works out okay. And if I came in with a better team, we would have beat it. But unfortunately, I didn't. I was playing around with Burgoth, and it didn't work out well. We didn't bring in any other healers, so we're going to die here as well. Let's jump into Fire Knight. So Fire Knight, I think, is the best team for these guys. Bring in your Allure, bring in your Cold Heart, bring in your Apothecary, and you shouldn't have any issues. Because we're going to freeze everybody. Then we're going to drop their turn meter down. There's that sweet double hit from our Hound, doing the big decreased defense. There is putting their skills on cooldown from the A1 of our Hellfang. And this is it. I mean, we trample through these people. Not a lot they can do when we're handling them like this. Freeze over freeze, unless we come into here and everything's on cooldown. If that were to happen, then we might have some issues, but I think we're gonna freeze them all again. We've got one that's not frozen. Allure's gonna do her thing. And then when we get to the Fire Knight, we are going to drop the shield down and keep it down. That's why it's so important to have a really good Allure in this game. Just for that, even though she's the weak affinity. I wish they really would make a good affinity for Fire Knight that does kind of what she does. I think it would help us out. We wouldn't have to worry about ever getting weak hits, and it would make it nice. But maybe those new artifacts, maybe we'll use the new artifacts on her and see how that works out. But I don't know. I've got her in Relentless, and I don't think I'd want to play her any other way. Those hits and getting those Relentless procs to keep the turn meter down are unreal. So once we're at this point, it's done. I mean, we come in here, we've got Apothecary with speed. We've got our dogs doing what they need to do. Our Hound is going to get up to big. There he is with that. I mean, his moves look cool. The level 60. The level 60, the Hound's going to do the big decreased defense soon. And then, boom, boom, there we go. And then Cold Heart will eventually do her Heart Seeker. And that's it. It's done in, I wonder how quickly we did this. 3 minutes, under 4 minutes, I'm hoping. And then we'll go look at their gear after this. And we can always go run some Arena, and I can show you just how easily I dominate all those bots in Arena. But we don't need to do that. It's very easy, but you know how the bots are. Right now in Arena, I'm facing everybody that looks like they'd be in bronze 1 or 2 or something. It's pretty simple. But take advantage of that. Make sure you're building up your Great Hall if you get a chance to. If you're watching this video when it's still happening. Okay, we're under 4 minutes. All we need is Cold Heart to do one more. One more Cold Heart. Come on. There she goes. All right, so 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Not bad for this team. Although, again, my Allure is pretty amazing. My Cold Heart's pretty decent. The gear on these two aren't too crazy. We'll go look at that right now. Hellfang, since we left at 50, I gave her some accuracy sets. We got some speed in here to make sure she could go in front of the Hound. 210 speed. We've got 239 accuracy. That's really all I was going for, with speed and accuracy. I know some of this stuff looks like legendary gear in here. We've got 30% attack, which really isn't doing anything for this champion. This champion isn't, we want accuracy here. We want kind of any accuracy substats you can get because we're keeping them at 50, and that was it. No masteries. No masteries whatsoever. Of course, both of them are booked. They need a lot of books, right? 4-turn cooldown, 3-turn cooldown on this for the weekend. And then we've got that A1 I talked about where it sets their skills on cooldown, which is pretty good. The Hound, I should have gone Savage, but I had this nice Relentless set on somebody I was not using at all, and it said 100% crit rate when I looked at them, and then it had this critical damage, and it was all attack, so I was like, yes, I'm just going to transfer it over to the Hound, and we'll play him like this and see how it goes. We've got attack, critical damage, accuracy, because we still want to land that decreased defense, the big one, and the stun on the A1 if we can. Critical damage here, this is a really nice set that I rolled recently. For that Relentless, we've got attack, and then just the rest of this normal stuff. So the A1 here has a 20% chance to stun. This is the one where we get the 2 hits to decrease the defense. The AoE, ignore defense and block damage buffs if there's a freeze, only when Hellfang is on the team. And then we did do masteries for this one. So we've got Helm Smasher, things to reset. We're going to try to have a higher chance to place that decreased defense and then to extend having that up. And that was it for these two. Let me know if you enjoyed that. I'll try to play other champions that also have partner abilities. I actually like this. It gives me something to do. It's pretty fun. I appreciate all your time. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all in a video soon.